Good day, all, and welcome to episode 2 of our self-care series. Today we are tackling what I am affectionately calling the ground floor basics of self-care. These are 6 things that are super easy, really simple to integrate into life. They're, for the most part, pretty cheap, and they're an easy check in that self-care win column whenever we need one. So whether we're looking to start a self-care practice, maybe start again, or maybe it's just one of those days where everything is hard and it's just maybe a little bit too much. No matter where we are, these are all great things to do. Starting with, so water and hydration is probably the easiest, most universal thing we can do. And to add to our self-care practice, like water is, so key, so basic, so fundamental to life. It's necessary for so many just like functions and processes in our body. And when we're properly hydrated, it just helps our body to get a little bit closer to that, peak performance level. So why not try to make hydration a habit, right? Carrying a water bottle or having one at a desk or a workspace is a really good place to start. Maybe, if we're trying to think of things that are maybe a little bit harder, having a goal for the number of times that we kind of drain it in a day and fill it back up is a good way to make sure that we're drinking more. Or maybe even having a plan to have the water bottle drained by a certain time of day. But even something as small as adding a cup of water to our morning routine or maybe to every meal that we eat during the day can really help increase our hydration to heroic levels. The second thing, sunlight and fresh air, it's gonna kind of maybe make us feel a little bit like houseplants, right? Like the first 2 things is just like water, sunlight, fresh air. We're basically houseplants, right? But again, this is so important, particularly in this time when a lot of us are studying or working from home, where we're plugged into technology for long periods of time. Making sure that we go outside, get some sunlight, get some fresh air. It's not only a good way to unplug, but it has the added benefits of things like vitamin D from sunlight and getting some of that good old-fashioned fresh outdoor oxygen into our lungs, which is always, always a good idea. And while we're outside, why not get some exercise, right? Exercise is a great way to help get our blood flowing, moving some of that oxygen that we just got into our lungs through the rest of our body. It helps to release different chemicals in our brain that help us to reduce stress and tension, but also to help us feel a little bit more relaxed and even feel happier. And a little goes a long way. Adding things like a 15-minute walk after lunch or 20 minutes of stretching can really, really help. On the flip side, rest is also essential. Making sure we have enough rest helps us to recharge, it helps us to reset, and it helps us to face the new day and all the new challenges that it could pose. Having a consistent sleep routine, doing things like going to bed early, waking up at the same time, it can help cue our body that it's time to sleep or that it's time to wake up and can help us to get a more restful sleep. And I know this is a tough one, particularly in university with deadlines and the stress that just kind of comes with academic life, trying to get a social life, and now with the pandemic on top of it, like it's a lot to try and manage and to balance. But even if we just start taking positive steps toward rest is a great way to start. Things like allowing ourselves time to relax, allowing ourselves time to rest during a day, planning for it, making sure that we're doing that is, again, just a great positive step in a good direction. Hygiene. Of course, we're all very conscious of good hand washing right now. And good hand sanitizing. But good hygiene in general is always a great self-care tool. It's things like showering regularly, washing our face, brushing teeth, brushing or combing hair. They're pretty simple, but feeling clean and fresh can be a really great pick-me-up. Just think of what a hot shower can do at the end of a long day, just in terms of rest and relaxation, de-stressing, letting go of the day. These are also great ways to help create routine in our lives, acting as cues for, again, when we're supposed to be up and getting ready for the day and when we're supposed to be winding down and relaxing for the end of the day. And as we've definitely learned with the pandemic, good hygiene helps to ward off physical illness like coughs, colds, and even viruses. Last, but certainly not the least, we have our diet. So the food that we consume gives nutrients to our bodies, and the more varied the nutrients that we give our bodies, the more resources our body has available for things like brain health, for stress management, muscle and bone health, for concentration, and just for the proper functioning of our bodies. So we all really need to ask this question as often as we can, but particularly if we're having a bit of a day or if we're trying to be more intentional about self-care, asking questions like, am I getting enough fruits and vegetables in my life? Am I getting enough meat or fish or meat alternatives to make sure that I'm getting enough protein and iron and fat in my diet? Another good question to ask. Or even a question like, am I getting enough fiber? These are really important things to be looking into. And it's not just about what I'm putting on my plate, it's also maybe what I'm intentionally leaving off. Am I limiting the amount of sugar and maybe fried foods in my diet? Or am I careful to limit the intake of things like alcohol, caffeine, drugs, and tobacco? Because those agents tend to aggravate stress and anxiety, particularly over time, rather than relax the body. So there we have it. 6 basics that can act as a really solid ground floor for any self-care practice. Join us next time for episode 3, where we're going to go through one of my favorite and definitely one of my go-to things for acute self-care, deep breathing. So in the meantime, stay safe. Know that we're praying for you and that we love you and that we're always wishing you a fabulous rest of your day and a fabulous week.